What's up, everybody? I am back with another video about Etch. This one's going to be less awful, I think. This is more of a informational video, less of a me just gushing and gawking over the wonderfulness of Etch. I'm going to try to contain myself for this video. But I'm going to basically build a whole website in like 3 minutes. You're thinking, oh, that's a funny exaggeration. Yeah, just wait. We'll see. And I'm going to include a loop. And I'm also going to show you how easy it is to add some JavaScript magic to an element. This is all stuff that Kevin's done before, but sometimes you just get tired of seeing Kevin's face and you want to see, something else once in a while, right? So, I'm also going to show you a little bit of a different workflow. Kevin, I think, is the kind of person who can actually design stuff. I am not. I hate designing layouts, even just a layout. I'm not talking about logos. I just hate coming up with a layout. So I'm going to show you my workflow, which makes it so I don't have to do that. I make the robots do that for me. So that's exactly what I did with this robot. This robot's name is lovable.dev, I believe. Lovable.dev. I also use one called VO, which you'll see in this video as well. But I gave Lovable a prompt and said I need a website for this business called Agape Cafe. This is a real business that I may or may not be building a website for anyways. So I thought, hey, why not use it for this video? So this is what the robot came up with. Now, is it perfect? No, I would probably tweak a few things, but it's a lot better than me trying to have to come up with this whole layout all by myself, which I can't stress to you enough how much I hate doing that. So the fact that I can start with this and then I could tweak it later, it's just amazing to me. So, but it's not even half as amazing as what you're about to see. So here is what I'm going to do. I got this amazing website from the robot. I'm going to grab the section code here. Just going to grab all of it. And because the robot uses Tailwind, I need to add another step to my workflow that maybe you wouldn't have to do if you're building your own layouts. And that is, I'm going to have ChatGPT remove the Tailwind and just give me regular old CSS. And I'm going to make it nest that CSS under one class. And I've already done that actually. I did all the prompts ahead of time. So as you can see, I just copied the code and I said, give me this HTML, take the Tailwind out, give me a regular CSS, and boom. So here is the HTML. And you're going to see something happen also. I just don't know how to, I don't know how to avoid it. So it's just going to happen. But I'm going to add a section just by clicking that. Select the section. I'm going to delete what they have and paste in the HTML that the robot just gave me. Now you're going to see all this CSS magically appear. That's only because I already did this whole thing once just to test it before. And so Etch saved all this data, but pretend that this isn't here. In fact, I'm going to get rid of it. It was never even here. You didn't see this. This is what you would normally see. You would just see this class because that's the class that I have selected. I've selected this section. This section has a class of Agape Hero, so that's the class that you're going to see over here. So then I would go back to my robot and I would grab the CSS. It didn't nest it like I asked it to, so I had to give it another prompt and say, hey dummy, I told you to nest this, and then it did it. And so now I'm going to copy everything inside of this Agape Hero. Copy that. Go back to my website and I'm going to paste it in here, and voila, I have that entire section just like that. Boom, pasted HTML, pasted CSS, done. Right? Done. Now I can click on this image. I think I can click here. Yep, I'll click here. Which image am I putting? Yeah, that one. Okay, that would be this image here. Move my ugly face. This one up here is this image. Boom. Done. Dunzo. Okay. Crazy. Crazy. A whole section just like that. Just done. Let's do another section because that was so easy, right? How would I do another section? I'd come back here, right click, inspect, grab the section HTML, give it to ChatGPT, say, hey, do the same thing you just did for that other section, do it for this section. Copy this HTML, add another section. And you'll notice that it there's an ID in there now. For some reason, it decided to give this section an ID. I don't think it gave the first section an ID. Robots are funny that way, you know. They do random stuff. They're fun. They're hip. But you can just go ahead and click on this class because this is what we want to do. And again, you didn't see this. It's populating this because it remembered from when I did it last time. But we'll come back here. It's properly nesting stuff now without me having to yell at it, so that's fun. Paste that in, and I have another section. Voila. Just pixel perfect, exactly the same. And what's cool about this, save it, go to the regular editor, and everything we did, it doesn't always look, you know, the preview doesn't always look perfect in the block editor, but all this text is editable. So, you know, if your client is like, oh, I need to go change the time. We open at 8:30 now. They can log in here. They don't go to Etch. You don't want them in Etch, right? This is for, Etch is for you. This is for them. They can come here, click on this, and go 8:30. Save. Right? Boom. Done. So they can still easily edit their content if they need to. You know, maybe they're paying you to do that. I don't know what you got going on, but I know a lot of clients like to be able to log in and make minor updates themselves without having to go through the channels of asking me to do it. So they can do that. And if they want to come in here, you know what? We just hit 60,000 meals. Boom. Right? It's already just regular old blocks that can be edited, and you can save that. And then you go back into Etch, and of course it's synced up. So now it's 8:30, right? 8:30. It's synced up perfectly. You know, they could also change the image themselves. They could pick a new image if they, you know, updated their logo or whatever. They're tired of this picture. You know, turns out she was a serial killer, right? So we got to get rid of this image. We can't have her on there anymore. So they can come in here quickly, pick a new image, done. So that's what I was gushing about in the last video, and I'm going to try to contain myself this time and not go on about how cool I think that is, and I'm going to move on to the next cool thing. All right, we're moving on. So, I mean, I just created these two whole sections in like a minute. I mean, I could keep going and just grab section by section. Here's the visit us. I could grab that, which again I already did that ahead of time. Paste it in. Done. There's a whole other section. But what I want to show you now is a loop. Okay, now this is something that every page builder does it differently. Most page builders can do it, and to be honest, a lot of them are pretty powerful in what they can do. They are limited, however, in you know, the design. For instance, you know, I use a builder called Themify, and you're kind of limited. They have like 6 column, 5 column, 4 column, 3 column, 2 column, 1 column, and like list view. So you can select all those, and then you know, whichever one of those views that you want, and then you can kind of build what each individual instance of a post looks like. It's pretty good. It really is, but it's not quite as good as being able to do whatever you want, which is the power that we have with Etch, because we have the code right here. You can't do this in Elementor. themify, divvy, whatever. You can't just go in, you can't do stuff in the builder and then go into the code and edit it, or just forego the builder completely and just do nothing but code. You can't do that with other builders, right? So once again, I go to my robot friend. This time I'll use a different robot friend called VO. I gave it a prompt. I said, hey, I'm building a site for a realtor and I want a grid of properties. And it said, cool, bro, here you go. And this is what it gave me. So I copied this. I went to my other robot. I said, I need you to give me this code just like before. Take the tailwind out of it. And where is that one? Is it this one? Probably, because this one's really long. Yep, this is the one. And then I realized that I didn't want all of those property cards statically coded. So I said to remove all of the properties except one. And then it gave me this. So we'll copy this. I'm going to create a whole new page. Did that save then? I wonder. Okay. Interesting. So every time I leave a page, it's going to... All right. What if I just click save? Cool. New page. Properties. Done. Blank. All right. Edit with Etch. Now, this has nothing to do with the Agape Cafe website. They don't have any posts or anything that I could use to play with and create a loop. So I'm just grabbing some data from another website I built for fun that has a bunch of properties in it. And I'm going to use that. I already imported all the data. In fact, I'll just show you. So they're called properties, and I have advanced custom fields installed. Eventually you'll be able to actually create custom post types with Etch, so you won't even need advanced custom fields, but right now I'm using it. So anyways, I have that. I also created some field groups, or some fields for a property. There's an address, there's the square footage, and there's the price. Obviously there's a lot more we could add, but I just needed something, so I created those three. And all right, let's do it. Let's create a grid of properties that is dynamic and just pulls all the data automatically from this big old list of properties. As you can see, I have about 13 properties. Most of them are test properties. So we're gonna create a grid that automatically displays all this for us. It's gonna be pretty neat. Properties. All right, edit with Etch. Here we go. Let's add a section, and we'll grab our code from the robot, and we'll paste that in. And once again, it remembered my CSS from last time because it has a good memory. I mean, that makes sense, right? If you add some stuff to a class, you want it to remember that, because you might add that class again to another element on that same page, or maybe on a different page, right? So when you do stuff to a class, it will remember it. So you don't have to keep typing the same thing over and over again. Anyways, all right, so what we have is a beautiful card with no real data in it. It's all just static. And what we need is dynamic data. We need it to be displaying a whole bunch of properties, and we need it to display the right image for each one, and the right address for each one, and the right price for each one. So how do we do that? Well, the first thing we do is find where this card is. It's in here. Here is the card. So this is the card, and there's going to be many cards in here, and this is the container. So I'm going to click on this and click on the loop button down here. And what I want to do is I want to drag our card so that it's inside the loop. There it is. Now, close your eyes. You didn't see this. It's doing stuff again. Okay, open your eyes again. This is what you would see when you click the loop button. it's going to automatically create this very simple PHP loop, and it defaults to the post type of post, which is just a regular post, but that's not what we want. We're not trying to loop through our posts. We're trying to loop through our custom posts that we created called properties, and the slug for that property happens to be GLD. That's the name of the business of the website I built this for. Property. So first off, you'll notice now there's a whole bunch of these properties. They're still all the same thing, the same static data, but now there's 12, 13 of them showing. That's because it's properly looping through our properties, and it's seeing that we have 13 properties, so it's displaying this card 13 times. Now we need to make sure that the data in these cards is actually correct. How do we do that? It's actually very simple. We click on something, and we're going to follow the same sort of template. I don't know. Syntax? That's probably the word. We're going to follow the same sort of syntax. So first I want to actually go back to our loop, and you can see here where it says loop recent posts as item. I'm going to change item. You don't have to, but I'm going to change it to property. And just because it makes more sense. I might have other loops, and I'd like to know, the second I look at this loop, I like to know, oh, this is the loop I have for my properties. And so you can make this whatever you want. I recommend making it something that makes sense. Now that I've done that, I'm going to click on an image, and for the content, right now there's no content. I'm going to type curly brace, property, because that's what I decided to call each one of these, dot, and then the WordPress calls the featured image of a post the thumbnail, even though it's not always a thumbnail. We're talking, this is from old school when WordPress was just for blogging and nothing else. And that is actually not correct. I think I need to put this down here. We'll put that back to where it was. Down here. Yep. For the source. Property.thumbnail. Now, it looks like it's showing static data. That's because I'm lazy, and all of these posts actually have the same featured image except for these three. So these let you know it's actually working. All those properties have the same featured image except for these three right here. So that's already working. We got the correct image showing for each post. What else did we have custom fields for? An address, a price, and a square footage. So let's click on the address here. The content. This is going to be a little different. I'm going to still type curly bracket property, but because this is an advanced custom field, we're going to add meta dot, and then I'm going to guess, what was this called? Was it property address? Yes, it was. And if you're wondering where I came up with that, well, let me show you. If we go to advanced custom fields, our field groups, property fields, the address slug is property underscore address. So that's where I got that from. The next one we're going to do is square footage. So let me just copy that since I'm already here. Let's click on right here where it says square footage. For content, delete that. Curly bracket property.meta dot. I'll paste that in. Curly bracket. Now it's just a number. Property. Oh, how did that space get in there? There we go. It's just a number. So I'm going to just add square foot. There it goes. Okay, and what else do we have? We had a price, so let's delete that and say property.meta. Property, was it just property price? Yes, it was. There we go. And that's it. That's all we have dynamic data for. That's all we have. Just these three fields: address, square footage, property price. So You could, I mean, you could add, I don't know if any of these actually have a description. Let's give this one. This property is lit. Save. Okay, let's just add text. I'm going to, where do we want it? Let's say, yeah, we want it probably in this div. Nope, these three in this div. Okay, so after this div, I think. That's cool. Text, and added it in the div, so I'm just going to open it up and drag it out of the div. I want it right there. Boom. And I'm going to say, I'm actually guessing here, I don't know if this is going to work because this isn't an advanced custom field. This is just the default post. So I guessed thumbnail correctly earlier because I knew that WordPress calls the featured image a thumbnail. So I'm going to try property.content. And that did not work. Shucks, property the content? Nope. You know, before it was blank and now it's displaying that. That makes me think that maybe it was half working. Let's try adding it to one of these since we know what the picture looks like. Yeah, it did work. It just didn't. I wonder why. Oh, it's right there. Was I not seeing that before, or did I have to refresh the page for that to work? I don't know. All right, so I was right. It is just content. I'll bet excerpt probably works too. I bet we could do that. I don't know if it defaults, if there is no expert specified, if it just takes the content. I think that's what it's supposed to do. Yeah, it looks like it's not doing that. But I want to make that work, so let's see. I think you have to enable an excerpt. Advanced custom fields, post type, properties. Yep, excerpt is not enabled. Is that enough, just enabling that? No, we have to actually add an excerpt. Oh, I just saw it. Add an excerpt. Excerpt row. Save. Yeah, that worked. All right. Cool. Let's look at the front end. Yes, very nice. Beautiful. I might have to work on the... No, it's already responsive. Because it used grid, and ChatGPT did a decent job of converting the Tailwind CSS into regular CSS, so good job, Robot. The one thing I haven't figured out is how to make this link, because it's usually the permalink. So I thought, since, you know, thumbnail worked and content worked, I thought permalink would work. But I was not able to make that work. I came in here, I added an A link. Clicked on it. Oh, you know what? I wonder if... I think I might have put it in the content section for some reason. I don't know. Let's just try it. Property.permalink. Let's try it. It actually... Oh. You know, before, when I tried this, nothing happened when I clicked on it, so I thought I just completely failed. This did something when I clicked on it, but not what I wanted. It's not just a permalinks thing, is it? That didn't look... That didn't look good at all. Yeah, that's not right. So I don't know. I really was expecting that to work when I tried this earlier today. Property.content worked, property.thumbnail worked, property.permalink apparently does not work. I'm going to figure out how to make that work though. Anyways, the next thing, there was another thing I wanted to show. Oh yeah, some simple JavaScript magic. This is dumb, but it will show you how cool this is and how easy it is to do JavaScripty stuff. Especially if you don't know much about JavaScript, you can just go to ChatGPT, Grok, whatever, tell it what you want to do. It'll give you some JavaScript and you can make it happen without even knowing what you're doing. So what I did is I said, hey, ChatGPT, I want to make it so when I click on this View Details button, it flips the image for that post upside down. I was just trying to think of something to do like interactive that would require JavaScript. And it was like, okay, here's how you do it. And so it didn't do it right the first time I had to fix it. I won't make you go through that, figuring that out. That was fun. But I'm going to grab this. So I told it if I need to add like a class or an ID or a data attribute to my existing HTML, let me know. And sure enough, I do need to add something to the image. And that's the great thing about Etch, is that you can just manipulate the HTML like that. So it says I need to update the HTML for the image. All right, I'll click on the image and guess what? Copy and paste, boom. Right, I do need to fix, unfortunately it broke this, so I'm going to come back here and just do property.thumbnail again. But that's good to go. I also needed to add a class to the button. So we'll do that. I'll click on the button. And I think it's already in there actually because I did this before. Yep, class equals details button. All right, so that's already in there. And then it gave me a little bit of CSS. And so I will copy this and it's probably already in there. So if I click on property image, yep, it's already in there. So pretend it wasn't there and I'll paste it in, bam. And then it gave me the JavaScript, of course. So I'll grab that. Up here is the JavaScript box, paste that. Oh, no, I don't want to paste it on there. I probably want to put this on something like the container. What is this div? It's the image wrapper. This is the card, the loop. Yeah, here's the div. We'll put the JavaScript on that div. And save and preview and see how many errors I get. Okay, it's still, let's take that link out because the link's broken anyways. Boom. No top level element attached. Correct. There we go. Get that out of here. And what did that say? View details. All right, now let's try this. Click the button and boom, the image flips upside down, just like I told ChatGPT I wanted to happen. And it only happens you know, if I was coding this, I'd probably screw it up, and you'd click the button and all the images would flip upside down, and it would take me a while to fix it. But that's not the case here. It's doing exactly what I wanted it to do. And I do know JavaScript a little bit, but you didn't have to know. All you saw me, all I did was just copy and paste. I didn't know what I was doing. The robot gave me the code, and I pasted it in, and it just works. It just works, man. And the code is, look at this. It's good code. It's just like the code that I got from vo.dev, right? It's just regular old HTML. There isn't a bunch of divs inside of divs inside of divs. There's the main, this is, you know, WP blog group. This is just regular WordPress stuff there. Here's our section. Here is our section. Exactly as we put it in the builder. Nothing else. No fluff. Just, you know, that's just amazing. I just love it. And I love that I didn't have to come up with this layout. I didn't have to design a card. I would edit this, like I don't like how it's not aligned. So I would go in and tweak that. But that might even be, oh yeah, that's because there's supposed to be SVGs there. So if I inspect this, edit as HTML, and I'm going to go back here, right there, SVG. There it is. There's our icon now. Where's the bed icon? SVG, edit. Paste it in. There's our icon. Save. Beautiful. Beautiful. And responsive. So this is kind of me gushing about Etch and VO / Lovable. I love those tools so much. I don't have to pay someone to design a layout for me and wait days for that whole process. I can get a layout in 2 minutes and then start building. And they look nice. Like, they're not crap layouts. They actually look nice. Especially, I find it to be really good at doing grids of cards like this. It just does it. It just bangs them out real nice. Yeah. So, and once again, I can't remember if I even talked about this in this video. I think I did. But this is editable. I actually haven't looked at a loop block yet in the block editor, so I don't even know what that looks like. Okay. Yeah, so make sure to tell your client not to change any of this stuff. Can they? Yeah, they can. That could be a problem. Yeah, probably just don't give them access to pages like this, because they don't really need to update anything here anyways, except maybe they want to change that, but why would they, right? This isn't data that would need to be changed, like an address or phone number or something like that. And this is all dynamically generated, so. But it is cool that it's a block, right? That's neat. I was kind of hoping that it would be, because there is, and the problem, oh, here's a loop. What is that? Is that just, oh, that's just a div named loop. It's not a loop block. I was kind of maybe hoping there would actually be a loop, query loop block here. The problem with that is Gutenberg's loop query loop block is terrible. So it can't do all the stuff that you can do with an Etch loop. So it probably isn't possible to create a loop block out of it. Anywho's, that's it. We talked about, we created some blocks very, very easily. We created a loop very, very easily. And we even added some JavaScript very, very easily. And I'm really only touching the surface here. I didn't even go into creating components. That's just something that I don't personally think that I will do very much, but I know it's something that a lot of people are very excited about, being able to create reusable components. Kind of like if you use Gutenberg a lot, a component is kind of like a pattern. It's basically something that's like the same, and you can reuse it, and then you can modify this instance of it. So it starts out the same. You drop the component, like maybe it's a card component, but then you need to tweak it a little bit after that. So it can save you a lot of time because you don't have to recreate a whole card from scratch, or you don't have to recreate a whole button. Maybe you create yourself a button component, and then every time you need a button, you just drop in the button component, and it has everything that you normally add to a button, whatever you normally do for accessibility, and then you can tweak it. Maybe for this particular design has a radius of 20 pixels in the corners, and your component's 15. You can easily change that, but it gives you something to start with and saves you a lot of time. So that's not something you're going to see in this video, but I will tell you that it is something you can do with Etch. And if you want to know more about that, just go to Kevin's YouTube. He has a whole video about creating components. You can also create templates. Again, I'm not really going to go into that in this video, but over here you have templates, and you can edit existing templates. It shows you the templates that already exist. So if it's not here, it doesn't exist. If you're familiar with the WordPress template hierarchy, you know that there's a whole bunch of possibilities for templates. But these are the ones that exist, and you can edit it. And it also automatically detected my other post types. So I have the post type properties that we just played with. I also have another one called reviews and another one called team members, and they don't have templates. So you could create one if you wanted. What else? I don't know what this stuff is. It's future, so nothing happens yet when you click on it. I didn't really show you the actual builder function, really. I just was copying and pasting actual code. But if you want, you can actually just build stuff. You can click this to add a section. So here's my section. I'll just rename this, I don't know, my own custom section, whatever. And that's just a name. It doesn't actually show up anywhere. That's just for you to organize your stuff. So there's a container inside, and I mean, you can add a heading. And that's cool. You can change this text by clicking here or here or here, like whichever one you just like the most, you can do. So that's pretty cool. Then you can add text. You can add a link. Click me. What else do we got down here? Oh, an iframe? SVG. How does that even work? What happens if I click SVG? Nice. It just sort of gives me the template for wait, what is this? Okay, so maybe if you have an SVG file. Does anybody ever just sit here and just type out? Like, is there like a mad genius who could just type out? They're like, ooh, you know what? I want to create an SVG icon for, I don't know, a map, like the little map pin, and they're just like, and just start typing it in. I bet there's a mad genius out there who can do that. What else is down here? The loop, we saw that. If condition. That's pretty cool. Heading. What happens if I click if condition? If. Where'd it go? Oh, there's my if condition. I want my text to be in it. If. What would I even put here? Maybe like you know what? Let's go back to our loop page, because I think that is where we could use conditionals in a pretty cool way. Everything I've done so far, I've already done. This is new for me, so you're about to watch me try to learn. You know what? Since we don't even have, maybe you create a property and you're a realtor, you're busy, you just don't have the square footage, right, for a particular property. So let's say for this property, they didn't add it because they didn't have that information yet, but they still wanted to get this listing up. And so now, you know, it's where is it? Here. It's kind of awkward because it still says square feet, even though there isn't a number. And maybe you'd prefer it that it just, if there's no square footage entered, then it doesn't say square feet. There would just be nothing here. I think this is how we could use the conditional. So let's see, is this the right one? Yes. Bed, bath, yep. So I'm going to click condition, and I want this text to be inside my condition. Did that work? Is it inside the condition? I can't tell. Yes, yes it is. All right, so if condition, I'm going to just try typing property.meta. What is it? Square footage? Is that what it is? This either doesn't work the way I was hoping, or I just did it wrong. First of all, let me property.meta.square footage. Okay. If property.meta.square footage. Yes, there it is. So you just don't use the curly braces in here, which makes sense because you're actually putting it in here. Look at that, it's working. So you see this one where we deleted the square footage, now it's just blank. And then on all the other ones, since there is a square footage entered, it's displaying. So that's a good use for if conditionals. I wish, there's been times, Themify is what I use, I mentioned that before. It's what I used to use, and they do have a pretty robust builder for doing stuff like this, but it's not quite this powerful, and the ability to do this would have made my life a lot easier in a couple different instances, I know for sure. So that's exciting for me, to be honest, to be able to so easily, and you could even do, I mean, you could do whatever. You could make up some other custom field, and you could add a conditional, and you can say, you know, if this field data is this, then do this. I mean, the possibilities, I struggle with coming up with examples on the fly, but the possibilities are endless with this kind of feature. And it was so easy. You just watched me figure out how to do it. I'd never done it before. What is this? Add custom component. Okay. Yeah, we're not going to get into that. All right. That's it, man. That's it for this video. I hope you found this useful. I hope that you will go bother Kevin about when their next launch is, so you can get in on this, because it's a game changer, man. I just bought in the other day, and I'm not sure. I feel like I could use this right now to build an actual website for my clients. There might be, I mean, there might be some stuff maybe that I can't do yet. I don't know. I'm just trying to think. I feel like the last website I built, I probably could have built with Etch as it is right now, and it's not even launched yet. So that's pretty cool. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.